this morning was the final dream that I had, and it was right as I woke up. There was a black man in the dream, and the black man was one of those guys who, you'll see on the street, like doing like feats of athleticism, like flips and all kinds of things. The dream showed me him doing things, but I didn't really remember a lot of what he did. But he was doing like flips and like doing stuff at like the jungle gym where you're like hanging and doing like strength things. And then all of a sudden it cut to a park. And I think this took place in New York City because I could see the buildings in the background, like almost like across the river. You could see like all the Manhattan, and this was like in a park on the other side. And there was this huge monstrosity of a chain link fence, like architecture thing that went really high. It didn't show me how high, but it went high because you could see the buildings. And so all of a sudden the guy ran and started climbing it, just like, climbed this thing really fast, really athletic. And he went up and he was climbing it and he was climbing it. And I actually stopped watching because he was climbing it so fast it looked like he was going to fall, like it was dangerous. And so I stopped watching. And then I about 30 minutes later, I said, you know what, I'm just going to watch, even if the guy falls, I'm just going to watch anyway. So I watched, and now instead of him starting, he was almost finishing. He was very near to the top. And he finally got up to the tippy top, and it was high up, man. I'm talking like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet. And maybe like 200 feet, maybe a little more. And he was up at the top. And the top it was all chain link fence, and all of it. And so it had like and poles holding the chain link fence. And the top was a flat surface. But the interesting thing is on the side, right near the top but a little lower, was like a bowl-shaped chain link fence. It bowled. It was like a bowl, but in a circle, almost like a perfect circle, but it bowed like a bowl. And the guy went from the top, climbed down, and was suspended in the bowl. And he had one arm here, he had one arm here, and he was just holding himself up completely by his own strength. And just literally like levitating, almost like, but he was holding onto the fence. But it looked like he was almost levitating because the bow went in by his weight. His weight made the bow go in. So he was going in, but he was holding, and his exact body mimicked like Jesus hanging on the cross perfectly. But he was holding himself up by his fingers, all of his body weight, and his legs were just hanging straight down, and he was holding himself up. And then he just fell, like he let go and he fell. And the camera work in my dream was awesome because it was showing everything perfectly. And as he fell, the camera was from below a trampoline, and you saw him hit the trampoline and jump up really high and just do some flips. And then you saw the crowd all around him just going nuts. They were just going absolutely nuts. And the camera kept showing the crowd, and then kept showing the trampoline from below, and him jumping and doing flips. And you could see him being congratulated by a lot of people. And most of the people in the audience were black. In fact, I think all of them were, if I can remember correctly. And they were really like encouraging him and everything. And then all of a sudden, just like a good documentary, it panned away, and it showed a small little playground. A small little playground that you would see in a park, but it was very small, maybe 13, 14 things. And in slow motion, you saw all these kids running straight into that playground, just running like they didn't have a care in the world. And they all just, bam, started doing their own thing. Some on the swing, some climbing ropes, some doing this, some do that. Some kid even put on like these really cheap boxing gloves and was shadow boxing against the wall. And they were all like just inspired and lit up, and they were just like, just what they had just seen, they were trying to do it. Because what that guy had done had inspired them so much that they wanted to be like that too. So they just weren't even talking to each other. They were just doing their thing. So I just wanted to share that dream. The significance is the fact that this guy, the significance, I'm not interpreting the dream, but he was hanging like he was on a cross. And then this guy ended up inspiring people, mostly children. So basically that's the dream, and I just wanted to put that out there.